Hello, we're going to be talking about my research project, which was about the intro to learning styles. So we're going to be eating Wingstop while talking about my research project. So my research project was about why it's important to become aware of our learning styles. So first of all, do you know what learning styles are?
No, I don't.
So there's the four main ones. It's auditory, visual, kinesthetic, and reading and writing. And there's actually a website that you can use that helps you identify what they are. It's called the VARK, and I'm actually going to include it in the description. That way you can go and find it for yourself. And that might not be the most accurate, but it'll give you an idea of what your learning style might be. So what do you think about learning styles?
I think they're important to know so you can study better.
Can you think of any other learning styles that might be important? Or that I forgot to add?
Some learning styles are, some learn better during music. I know I do sometimes. Remembering something is by music or nature. A lot of people who are, who get distracted by nature easily, bugs, rocks, the leaves, is because they're a naturalist, which means that they study better in nature. So that someone who would be at the park studying, and they'll learn better in that environment. And then there's also linguistic, which I think it's the same as verbal, which is learning better just talking like this. I'm not that for sure. I need pictures and everything. And there's more, I just can't remember.
Okay, so I was not aware of those. I've never, from what the sources that I saw, they didn't talk about those, but maybe in the future I'll go and research about those extra learning styles, or there may actually be more than those four that I mentioned, which there are. And so in my first source, I learned that there's actually factors that go behind what our learning styles are. So some of them would be academic achievement, the occupation of your father, and the high school that you graduated from. But the main one that stood out to me was the father's occupation. So for example, my father works in retail, and I'm able to connect that to my learning style, which is kinesthetic. And basically he works a lot of hands-on with where to put all the clothes and the shoes and accessories, and making sure that they're all right. So that might also be visual. So I can also say that I'm a little bit of a visual learner as well. And can you connect one of those to your learning style?
My dad, he did work in the oil rigs. He's very smart, especially in math. He was good for his accent. And he was the type that you tell him and he'll do it. He's not the one that'd be like, oh, explain it to me more, explain it to me again. Oh, show me pictures, show me. No, he was just that one, like, okay, you need to do something, okay. And he was very hands-on, a lot of math, which to me, I'm somewhat the same way. Not really, but if you tell me something once, yes, I'm gonna understand. And then from there, it's just a lot of trial and error. I'm like, okay, I didn't understand this, let me ask questions, I don't know. So I guess I'm a little bit the same as my dad. I want to say he was a kinesthetic learner, and what's up, the one that you just, the linguistic, I guess, and mathematical. That's he everything. He was really smart. So I'm kind of like that, kind of not. Just depends on what I'm being taught.
So you can also say you're auditory in a way,
yeah,
because as you're listening to instructions, it catches onto you real quick. And that moves on to what I learned in my second source, which was how you can, by knowing what your learning style is, you're able to understand your strengths and weaknesses in your learning, or based off your learning style. So for example, me, that I'm a kinesthetic learner, I learn better through the use of, like, I don't know, for example, math cubes when I'm working with math, or little cubes on the board, on the whiteboards when, on the whiteboard when I'm doing, I'm not, like in my class where I teach to elementary students, they learn by the use of magnetic tiles on the board. So those are my strengths, but that helps me understand my weaknesses, which I'm not that good of at learning through the use of like just writing down notes, or just simply seeing a teacher write down what the notes are. So I have to make sure I write down the notes, or find something that hands-on that's able to help me learn. So through that, I'm able to understand what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are. So what would you say that your strengths and your weaknesses are in yours?
My strength is I'm more towards visual. I have to see someone doing it, or instructions with pictures, not just words. I know in math I struggle with that a lot, but I think it's because I didn't know how to study for it like I do now. My teacher, she would just show up on the board and she would just show us the steps, but she wouldn't explain. Like, yeah, I saw it, but it never clicked to me because she wouldn't explain well. And that's what I needed more, was explaining step by step, and not just doing it and then be like, okay, copy down. Like, I needed someone to do that. So I guess that's one of my weaknesses, is I need to start working on that and figuring it out for myself. And one of my strengths would be the pictures, I think, because everyone understands pictures, at least according to me. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's why I think that's my strength in math, because I'm able to use the notes or examples of problems from what my teacher or professor put, and use that to learn how to do the problems that we do in the homework. So that's one of my strengths. But now, if he tells us to go read the book, I'm not gonna know what to do, because I'm not good at just reading and taking down notes. I need to see someone taking down notes, or have the notes pre-made for me. That way I'm able to better understand what we're going over. Can you say that that's the same thing for you?
Yes.
So then that's bringing me to my interview with my professor. And in the interview, one major topic stood out to me, which was how we shouldn't think of our learning style as just one. So for example, me, that I think that I'm only a kinesthetic learner is in a way wrong, because if I think of it as, maybe my kinesthetic is the major one, but I should think of it as I have the visual, the auditory, and the reading and writing, because it helps us understand the other ones better, and it also helps us with studying and learning. It opens up opportunities for studying and for learning, and not just focusing on the main one that we have. So for example, let's say in my politics class, there's not much hands-on that we can do with politics. So I have to use other ways to study and learn. So one of the ways that I study for that class is rewriting my notes, and also writing down notes in class, and making sure that I listen and see all the slides and videos that he puts on the board. So that's the way that I'm able to learn in that class. Is there a way that you can say for your classes?
I know the one class that I'm struggling with right now is government, federal government. I guess it's the same as politics, but he just lectures, and I cannot I don't even know what he's saying. I write the notes down and I somewhat understand, but my mind's just, I can't just sit there and listen, But after that class, I go and I search up videos on what we were just going over, something similar, especially for the test that I actually have one next week. And I have to search up videos on what we're going over, because that's going to help me better remember and study for. So yeah, I guess I'm not only just but I'm a visual kinesthetic, but I'm also visual and auditory. But I have to see it and hear it at the same time, not just straight lecture, straight talking, no.
Yeah, so we actually use them all at once, almost every single time, but we're not aware of it because we're just focused on the main one that we have. Or for me, that's how I think of it. I just focus on mine. But in reality, we're using all at once. For example, when you're writing down, or when you're using manipulatives with mag examples, for example, you're also working hands-on. I mean, you're also doing reading slash writing, because you have to write down all the things that you're doing in a worksheet, and you have to listen to your sister's instructions and see what they're doing. So you're using all at once, but your main one might be just kinesthetic. So just using this, it'll help you become better at studying, become better at learning, and becoming just a better student overall. So I would encourage you all to try it on your own. Use that link that I'm going to put in the description to find your learning style, and then connect it to the factors. Connect to your factors. Use it to find your strengths and weaknesses, and then finding new ways to study and learn through not just by one learning style, but all of them. So for example, for kinesthetic, you learn through manipulatives, through reading, that's writing, you learn through writing notes, doing worksheets. Through visual, you learn by seeing someone actually do something. And through, so that could be like YouTube or podcasts. Well, podcast is more audio, but watching videos, documentaries, things like that. And then audio, like I said, maybe listen to a song about what the topic is, or what else is there? Or the podcast, like I said right now. So you can use that to become a better student overall. Is there anything else that you have to add?
Yes, actually I have a paper right here. This, because I'm taking an education class in STC, and this is what my teacher gave us. And it's basically just a different, because there's the 4 main type of learning styles, but there's other ones that I was explaining earlier in the video. And it's just a naturalist, which is the nature, mathematical, which is logical, verbal, musical, visual, bodily, kinesthetic, interpersonal, and intrapersonal. Inter and extrapersonal. So those are some other ones that you have to keep in mind, especially if you're a teacher and you might have those different students. You're gonna have different students who have different learning styles from you. So one, like me, I'm not good at lecturing, but someone else might be. One of my kids might love my lectures and stuff. And I just think that's really important to keep in mind, that you have to be aware of who you're teaching to, and not just lecturing for, 30 minutes, because there's some that's gonna get distracted, or some, so you kind of have to teach and connect them all together, is basically what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. At least try for those kids that have different.
Yeah, use all the learning styles, so your students are able to learn through all the ways, not just by one.
This is my dog.
So that's all you had to add? Okay, well that's gonna conclude what my research project was pretty much about, and my main topics of what I talked about. And I hope that you're able to use what I said to help you become a better student overall.